April 1, 1945, near Lippstadt, Germany. The early spring dawn breaks cold and gray over the rolling hills of Westphalia, where the Lippe River winds through muddy fields scarred by tank tracks. The air hangs heavy with the scent of diesel exhaust and damp earth, punctuated by the distant thunder of artillery echoing like a fading heartbeat. American soldiers of the 9th Armored Division, their breaths visible in the chill, push forward through the mist, their boots sinking into the soft ground as they link up with patrols from the First Army. In that moment, unseen by the trapped forces to the west, the jaws of encirclement snap shut on the Ruhr Valley, sealing the fate of an entire German army group in a maneuver so swift it defies the grim calculus of war. This convergence at Lippstadt marked the culmination of a relentless Allied push that had begun weeks earlier with the crossing of the Rhine, Europe's last great natural barrier against invasion. By March 1945, the Third Reich teetered on collapse, its armies battered on two fronts. In the east, Soviet forces surged toward Berlin, exacting vengeance for years of brutal occupation. In the west, Supreme Allied Commander General Dwight D. Eisenhower orchestrated a broad front strategy to dismantle the German war machine. The unexpected capture of the Ludendorff Bridge at Remagen on March 7th by the U.S. 9th Armored Division had provided a vital foothold east of the Rhine, allowing Bradley's 12th Army Group to pour across. To the north, Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery's 21st Army Group executed Operation Plunder on March 23rd, ferrying troops over the river under a massive barrage. These crossings shattered German defenses, which had been weakened by fuel shortages, Luftwaffe impotence, and Hitler's refusal to permit strategic retreats. Eisenhower's plan was deliberate. Encircle the Ruhr, Germany's industrial heartland producing 60% of its coal and steel, rather than assault it directly and risk a protracted urban bloodbath akin to Stalingrad. As military historian Robert M. Citino later noted, fighting through the densely populated region could easily turn into a super Stalingrad. Instead, the Allies opted for speed and maneuver, exploiting German disarray to isolate Army Group B under Field Marshal Walter Model. For the German generals, the expectation had been one of resilient defense, a holdout fortified by the Rhine's natural defenses and the Führer's unyielding orders. Model, known as the Lion of Defense for his tenacious stands at Rzhev and Kursk, anticipated a grinding attrition war where superior German tactics could bleed the Allies dry. His troops, numbering over 400,000 at the outset, including remnants of the 5th Panzer Army and 15th Army, were bolstered by Volkssturm militias and hastily armed factory workers. They envisioned repelling the invaders with counterattacks, drawing on the industrial might of the Ruhr to sustain a prolonged fight. Hitler himself had decreed no withdrawal, insisting the region be held at all costs to fuel the war effort. Yet reality unfolded with brutal velocity. The American advance covered up to 50 miles a day in places, propelled by mechanized columns that outpaced German communications. By March 26th, as Joseph Goebbels confided to his diary, no more coal was coming from the Ruhr, signaling the economic strangulation already underway. The encirclement at Lippstadt on April 1st trapped 317,000 German soldiers in a pocket 30 by 75 miles, including 24 generals and even an admiral commanding defenses in Essen. Model's forces, deprived of air cover and fuel, could barely maneuver while American tanks roared forward, their engines a relentless hum symbolizing the inexhaustible abundance of a democratic arsenal. Amid the chaos, factual records paint a picture of overwhelming disparity. U.S. forces suffered 10,000 casualties, including 2,000 killed, in reducing the pocket, a fraction of the German losses. Allied air superiority, with over 11,000 sorties in the campaign's final weeks, hammered supply lines and troop concentrations. Documented accounts from captured officers reveal the shock. One German divisional commander reported his units disintegrating under the sheer weight of American artillery, which fired 150,000 rounds daily in some sectors. Model attempted futile counterattacks north and south, but by April 4th, the noose tightened fully, with the U.S. Ninth Army reverting to Bradley's command. The pocket was bisected by April 14th, when the 8th and 79th Infantry Divisions linked at Hagen, splitting it into eastern and western halves. The eastern sector surrendered on April 16th, yielding 130,000 prisoners. The western followed on April 18th, adding another 187,000. In total, 317,000 Germans laid down arms, the largest capitulation in the West since Normandy. Amid this, a simple object emerged repeatedly in prisoner accounts: the American Hershey chocolate bar, handed out by GIs to starving captives, its sweet richness a stark emblem of the plenty forged in free societies, contrasting the rationed scarcity of the Reich. This swift envelopment shattered more than armies. It transformed perceptions forged in years of propaganda. German commanders, steeped in the ideology of racial superiority and martial invincibility, confronted the raw power of Allied industrial democracy. Model, once Hitler's firemen for crisis fronts, grew despondent. On April 17th, he asked his chief of staff, General Karl Wagner, "What is left for a defeated general?" 4 days later, on April 21st, he took his own life in a forest near Duisburg, unable to reconcile the collapse with his worldview. Other officers, like those in the 116th Panzer Division, recorded in after-action reports the unbelievable speed of American mechanization, which outstripped their horse-drawn logistics. The encirclement exposed the hollowness of Nazi promises. The vaunted Wunderwaffen failed to materialize, and the Ruhr's factories, now silent, underscored how American abundance manifest in endless supplies of fuel, ammunition, and even those ubiquitous chocolate bars had overwhelmed totalitarian efficiency. Soldiers who had marched triumphantly into France in 1940 now trudged into captivity, their illusions of eternal victory crumbling under the weight of democratic resolve. The event marked an ideological pivot, revealing that freedom's fruits, innovation, production, and morale, could outlast authoritarian rigidity. In the epilogue of this encirclement, as the Ruhr's smokestacks cooled and Allied forces pressed toward final victory, one reflects on the profound truth it unveiled. The humble chocolate bar, passed from victor to vanquished, symbolized not just material wealth, but the enduring bounty of liberty. In a world where ideologies clashed in fire and steel, it whispered of democracy's quiet strength, the ability to mobilize vast resources through consent, not coercion, ensuring that abundance flows to those who fight for freedom's cause. Thus, the swift fall of the Ruhr illuminated how the pursuit of equality and plenty could encircle and defeat the shadows of tyranny, leaving a legacy where hope, not despair, rebuilds from the ruins.